Once you subtract your expenses from your income, you'll land on one number. If that number is negative, you're in an income deficit. That means over the course of a year, you're spending more than you earn. Even if it doesn't feel dramatic month to month, over time this quietly erodes savings, increases debt, and adds stress. If that number is positive, that's your income surplus. That's the money left over after life happens. And the size of that surplus determines how fast you can change your future. Pause here if you need to. This alone is a powerful moment. For a lot of people, this is the first time they've seen their finances laid out clearly without judgment. If you're feeling a bit uneasy, that's normal. Awareness always comes before change, and awareness can feel confronting. But clarity is a relief disguised as discomfort. One important thing to understand is that savings and investments, while not technically expenses, should be treated as such at this stage. When you count them as expenses, you're acknowledging that paying your future self is non-negotiable. It also helps you see what level of saving you've been able to maintain consistently, not just in good months. That consistency matters more than big bursts of motivation. Now let's talk about net worth, because this is another number that carries a lot of emotional weight but very little explanation. Net worth is simply what you own minus what you owe. That's it. Assets minus liabilities. Assets are things that have value and, ideally, either hold or grow in value over time. Savings, investments, property. Liabilities are obligations that take money out of your pocket. Mortgages, loans, credit card balances, personal debt. A lot of people avoid calculating their net worth because they're afraid of the number. But the number itself doesn't define you. It's just a snapshot. What matters is the direction it moves from this point forward. Someone with a negative net worth who's consistently improving it is in a stronger position than someone with a high net worth who's quietly eroding it through poor decisions. Here's the key shift. Income pays for your lifestyle, but net worth buys your freedom. Income determines how you live right now. Net worth determines how much control you have over your future. And every financial decision you make, whether you realize it or not, pushes that number in one direction or the other. This lens changes everything. Buying something isn't just about whether you can afford the monthly payment. It's about whether it builds an asset or adds a liability. It's about whether it moves you closer to freedom or further away from it. Once you start thinking this way, money stops feeling like a constant juggling act and starts feeling like a tool. Another layer that often gets ignored, but is just as important as the numbers, is your relationship with money. Your money personality. The way you think about money affects how you spend, save, invest, and even how much risk feels tolerable to you. This isn't about labeling yourself in a limiting way. It's about understanding your natural tendencies so you can work with them instead of against them. Some people love living in the moment. They value experiences, generosity, enjoyment. Others are highly goal-oriented, planning-focused, always thinking ahead. Some prioritize simplicity and security, while others are practical and cautious, preferring steady, predictable choices. And some are deeply social, seeing money as a way to create memories and connections. None of these are right or wrong. Problems arise when your financial strategy clashes with who you are. If you try to follow a system that doesn't fit your personality, it won't last. You'll feel restricted, rebellious, or burnt out. But when your strategy aligns with your natural tendencies, everything feels easier. Saving feels less like deprivation. Investing feels less scary. Decisions feel clearer. Take a moment to reflect on this. You don't need to take a quiz right now if you don't want to. Just think about your habits. When you get extra money, what's your instinct? Do you spend it, save it, plan it, or stress about it? When markets fluctuate, do you feel calm or anxious? When you think about the future, do you feel excited or overwhelmed? These patterns matter. What's happening right now is subtle but important. You're moving from operating on autopilot to operating with intention. You're replacing vague feelings with concrete understanding. That's why this part of the process feels heavier than the rest. It asks you to stop avoiding and start observing. But once you do, things get lighter. If you're realizing that you've been operating blind, that's not a failure. That's the starting line. Most people never even get this far. They jump straight to advice, hacks, and shortcuts without understanding their foundation. You're doing the opposite. You're building from the ground up. And now that you can see where you are, the next question becomes unavoidable. What do you do with this information? Because clarity without action eventually turns back into frustration. In the next part, we're going to take this awareness and turn it into momentum, starting with one of the biggest sources of stress and stagnation in most people's financial lives: